And I am alive, talking about movies once again. And this time around, we will talk about 3 decades of disaster with Supergirl, Catwoman, and Birds of Prey. Now, I know in between, the ladies did one movie right, being Wonder Woman, but the main topic for tonight is these 3 movies that are quite bad and poorly received by many people, audience, and critique. So let's get into it after the intro. So the usual formula, if we can call it that way, I will be screen sharing the wiki page for Supergirl because this is the first movie we are covering. You know that really bad movie with Ellen Slater that came out in the 80s and that tainted the brand for years. I mean, it took 40 years before we finally got a new Supergirl movie. I know we had a TV show in between, but um, 40 years before a new comic book related movie. It's quite big. So let's get into the wiki page. We will start with the director being Gina Zwak. Oh my, I just butchered the name. Be ready, I will butcher so many names this time around. Screenplay by David Odell. Based on Supergirl by Otto Binder and Al Plastino. Produced by Timothy Bruriel, starring Faye Dunaway, Helen Slater, and nice Easter egg from the Supergirl TV show that came out like 30 years after this failed movie. Helen Slater plays Supergirl mom or adoptive mom, I should say. Um, Art Buchner is the next one in the movie. Peter Cook, Maya Farrow, Mark McClure, Brenda Vaquero, Peter O'Toole. Interesting. Now, as someone that read comics, I feel like they really mixed up a few Supergirl there. The teenager that did the school thing. Anyway, um, the next thing is cinematography from Alan Hume, edited by Malcolm Cook, music by Jerry Goldsmith, production company Pueblo Film AG Production. That was before the Warner Bros. Days. That's so long ago. The next up is the distribution by Torn MI Screen Entertainment through Columbia MI Warner Distributor Limited. Release date July 19, 1984. And we had 2 cuts of the movie. Actually, three cuts, but all 3 cuts sucks. So don't search too far. Country UK. It's surprising it's not the USA. Language English. Budget 35 million. Box office 14.3 million. It was a bomb, folks. A massive failure. And it shouldn't be like that. Because, I mean, that's Superman cousin we are talking about. Now, the next thing to screen share the Rotten Tomato, and then I will be going over my thoughts in my review on that movie. So, the Rotten Tomato, let's see what people had to say about that movie. Is it a good movie? Is it a bad movie? We will let the audience and the critiques say so. There we go. Screen share. So many ads. It's like cancer. Um, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my! What a disaster! The critics gave a 19%, and the audience a 26%. Kara Ellen Slater of Argo City poses as Clark Kent's cousin, Linda Lee, to recover the Omega Gidron from the witch fading away. Well, this is the movie for ya. Let's read the critiques and the audience. Critic consensus: the effects are cheesy, the story is aimless, and Supergirl's wide eyed, cheery heroine simply isn't interesting. That's true, I agree with that. The first one from J. Scott Globe and Mail, October 8th. Rotten. Supergirl is made by people who can make a woman fly halfway around the world and can't get a plot to walk around the block. We can make a rap about it. Audience, oh, hello there. We are trashing on these awful movies. This is what's going on, and we are going over Rotten Tomato to just make sure we are not crazy on anything we will say in the review. Now, the next stop, Randy A. Celeste, Minneapolis Star Tribune, June 28th. Another rotten score. Supergirl is no cinema classic. Well, actually, I could say it's a classic on how to not make a movie or how to really, really miss the mark on a movie. That we can test too. Mostly because half the cast plays it straight while the rest go for camp. Interesting comment there. Oh, oh, shocker. We got someone that gave a fresh score. Impressive. Very impressive. We got someone that found enjoyment with that horrendous movie. Okay, let's get into it. June 28th from David Denby, New York Magazine Vulture. The movie has terrible schlocky effect, red real pool, and flying plastic, but it's constantly funny. So maybe he gave a fresh score for the wrong reason. Like he took that movie for a parody or something. I don't know. That's the only explanation I got, because even that review is not really like telling much on how why that movie worked for that person. So yeah, the next score 1.5 out of 5. So that'd be like a 3 out of 10, something like that. From Jonathan Garcia, Dynamic Duo Podcast, March 24. The film trades the magic of the earlier Superman film for a bizarre occult fantasy, problematic romance, and pacing that's much slower than speeding bullets. Wow. This is a bullseye, folks. Bullseye. I said it. Audience reviews. The first one gave a 1 star, being a 2 out of 10. It was one of the worst movies I have ever seen. I see where you're coming from, Colson. Um, there are worse movies in that lineup, like Birds of Prey. I don't know, but yeah, Robson C, half a star, so that'd be a 1 out of 10. Cara Zorel, Viv en Mro, so that's Spanish or Portuguese. Andrew H, 1 star, so that'd be a 1 out of 10. Awful, dreadful, one of the worst comic book film ever made. It clearly enters like the bottom 5 ever. Probably, maybe even bottom 10, because Marvel did a lot of terrible things. Um, Owen H. Wow. That person thinks it's a masterpiece. One of my all-time favorite. Yes, it is. It problems, but it's fun, visually great, and the music is phenomenal. What did I just read? Did we watch the same movie? Did we watch the same movie? I doubt it. I strongly disagree with that person, but hey, to each their own. Now it's time for me to roast that movie. I will share my review of the Supergirl movie. I ended up watching it way back then, a few months ago, and that was dreadful. Let's get into the many issues I had, and I will also say this: the first Superman movie that was made in 1978, it was visually better. It did age well. Supergirl didn't. So this is the premise of my review. So let's get into it. Um, my first issue with the Supergirl movie. Visual effect didn't age well. It was dreadful to watch. My second issue, acting and or directing also didn't age well. It was terrible. The third issue, pacing wasn't great. Many art scene didn't matter. My fourth issue, weak villain. My fifth issue, dialogue didn't age well. My sixth issue, bullies were weak character because yes, they were bullies in the cut I've seen. My seventh issue, most of the characters were forgettable, and it's funny because like I can't remember anyone outside of maybe Jimmy because he appeared in the Superman movie. That's something. Oh yeah, right. I think there was also Lucy. I think, but I cannot pinpoint to any characteristic to Lucy outside of the name. Um, More weird dialogue, unbelievable romance, and and more bad visual effect. So that movie was really a chore to get through, and I suffered. And it's funny because I knew it because I had seen the movie many years ago, and when I wasn't reviewing or critiquing movies, um, I would like pretty much anything. And even back then, I thought there was something off with that movie. I didn't hate it as much as this time around, but I I really believed, oh, what am I watching? What is going on there? What happened? Did they fire the people that were involved with the Christopher Reeves movies? This is what I was thinking. So I sound very harsh, and this is what I strongly believe. But stick around because there are a few aspects that I think kind of worked okay. Again, that movie is a train wreck. That movie is bad, but it has a few things I did enjoy. Krypton was entertaining. Supergirl flying around was kind of cool. School was cool. Lucy was entertaining. Middle of the road guy was entertaining. Funny how the guy tried to lift Supergirl. Cool Phantom Zone sequence. The action was entertaining. So overall, the movie has no substance, but I won't lie, wasn't the most boring thing I've seen. Uh, Superman Returns might be a better movie, but I was more bored with it. True and True Supergirl is not so great. And here's my grade for the Supergirl movie because I think it's train wreck. It's bad. It's not the worst movie this week, but it's a serious contender on one of the worst thing ever. So I will give Supergirl the movie from 1984 a glorious 2.5 out of 10. That's low, right? I'm lower than many critiques and audience, uh, but that's my score. I think it's bad. If you get the chance to not watch it, don't. That's exactly how I feel about it. And now this is the perfect segue to the next decade, the early 2000s, with many other train wrecks. And one of these numerous train wrecks is the Catwoman movie. It holds the badge of one of the worst movie ever. I disagree because I think the other two are the worst. I think Catwoman in the three we are covering tonight is probably slightly better. And again, it's not a big statement because it's like a race to the bottom here. So let's get into Catwoman. The next flop, directed by Pythoff, screenplay by John Brickinto, Michael Ferris, John Rogers, story by Teresa Rebeck, John Becketto, Michael Ferris, based on Catwoman by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, produced by Denise D. Novi, Edward L. McDonnell, starring Halle Berry. Our movie may suck, our movie may be very bad, but I enjoy Ellie Berry in the role. I'm all lying. Like, that's a trash character, but she was entertaining. And she was good looking way back then. Even today, she's still kind of pretty. Benjamin Bratt, Lambert Wilson, Francis Conroy, and Sharon Stone. Cinematography by Thierry Arbogast. Edited by Sylvie Landra. Music by Klaus Bedelt. Production companies: Village Roadshow Pictures, D Novi Pictures, Frantic Film, Maple Shade Film, Catwoman Films. So many production companies, and they could not get anything straight. Unbelievable. Anyway, distributed by Warner Bros. Picture. Release date July 19, 2004, Los Angeles. July 23rd, 2004, USA. Running time 104 minutes. Country USA. Language English. Budget 100 million. Box office another bomb, folks. 82 million. Another bomb. It's glorious to see movies bombing like that. You want more movies to bomb like that. If they suck, make them crash and burn. Um, I guess I will be going to the Rotten Tomato now because this is something that matters a lot. What do people say about that movie? Will I be crazy when I will roast it? This is the big questions. So let's get into the Rotten Tomato for Catwoman. Are we crazy? Oh my. It's doing worse than Supergirl, folks. Maybe I'm crazy. Audience 8%. No, 18. It's the critic that did 8. Shy, sensitive artist Patience Phillips can't seem to stop apologizing for her own existence. She worked as a graphic designer for Adair Beauty. Again, the critique 8% and the audience 18. So that's lower. That's far lower. Okay, critic consensus. Ellie Berry is the lone bright spot, but even she can't save this laughable action thriller. You know what? I resonate with that. I agree, 100%. So let's get into the first critique. David Staten at the Movies Australia. 1 out of 5, so that'd be a 2 out of 10. Bereft of excitement and with action scenes similar to those we've seen a dozen times before, this is a very poor effort indeed. Andrea Grunwald, another rotten score, and that's a lady from the Chicago Reader. And because that's a lady, she is the target audience, folks. The screenplay is a hodgepodge of witchcraft, ancient Egyptian lore, pulp feminist, and dash in SAM. That's rotten for ya. Another rotten here. Joe Morgenstern, Wall Street Journal. Catwoman's director, a visual effects specialist named Pytoff, is not contained by the rules of filmmaking. Scenes that make sense, nonsense. Character with inner lives, utterly pass. Another rotten score from Brian Gill, Mad About Movies podcast. I loved basketball more than anything in the world until I watched the basketball scene in Catwoman. Now I hate basketball. And this is a juicy rotten score again. People are having a number on that. Will we find any audience that will say, "Oh, I like the movie"? Will we? Oh my, we did. Oh, Giselle H. She kind of bad with a 10 out of 10. Maybe it's a prank. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe that person just says, "Oh yeah, it's so bad. I will give it a great score." Indra T. This movie is an absolute disaster with a 1 out of 10, a half a star. Wow, that's brutal, folks. Brandon K. 1.5 stars, so that'd be like 3 out of 10. It's really not a good movie by any objective metric. The editing is so bad that it distracts from other elements of the film. Wow. Half a star from ADS, so that'd be 1 out of 10. Worst superhero movie ever. Pytoff is a nobody. People resonate with that movie, aren't they? Well, well, well. Oh, well, well, well. My review will be as glorious as some of the comment, hopefully, finger crossed. Um, my first issue with this really bad movie, dialogue was weird. Number two, the acting and directing wasn't great. The third issue, plot convenience, the cop just being around to save the day. The fourth issue, during the chase scene, the bad guy couldn't aim. The fifth issue, the main villain wasn't that great or memorable. The sixth issue, weird visual effects. The seventh issue, more weird dialogue. The eighth issue, more weird dialogue. The ninth issue, the characters were forgettable. And the final issue, more weird dialogue. The dialogue was so insulting. And I feel like a lot of movies that are actually older than this, they held their own better in terms of like visual prowess. And now it's kind of funny because I added in my notes a note of plot, so I guess I'll get through my notes now. Artists working for a big pharma corporation stumbled into a conspiracy that led to her death. Once reborn, she became the Catwoman, an anti-hero with enhanced abilities. Patience, aka Catwoman, dates a cop that investigate a series of crimes. So, like, when you look at the plot, you're like, that could be interesting. What did they do wrong? Like, everything. Um. Anyway, I said that was my favorite movie for tonight, and I will stand by it. So I'll try to defend the best I can that movie. It's not great. Again, I had issues with it. I think it's still very bad, and I agree with a lot of the comments we read. So let's get into the likes. Music was okay. Movie was competent at showing overtelling. The action was cool. Makeup and set design were okay. Entertaining and weird ball game. Uh, I maybe it's the inner child in me that enjoyed that basketball scene. Maybe. Again, the movie is bad, but like I found enjoyment. Entertaining robbery. Well shown out. Catwoman was no longer the clumsy person she was before she got transformed. Nice lore. Funny how the lead returned what was stolen. The action was entertaining. Catwoman herself was okay, but the material she was given wasn't great. The cop investigating the lead was kind of fun. The final fight was okay. The villain waiting to remain beautiful regardless of price was a nice touch. Team of nothing can be timed. Team of the youngest replacing the oldest in the beauty industry. But it's kind of funny because I just mentioned that. I'm not the biggest fan of the substance, but the substance adds add a very similar idea, but the substance did it better. I said it. So for a 2004 movie, I think it aged poorly. That movie is already 22 years old, and people ate it. um, I won't say I hated it. I think it's bad. Um, I will say I hated Supergirl and I hated Birds of Prey, but Catwoman was entertainment at best. It was entertaining. Now let's give the score out of 10. The moment you all have been waiting. I will give this movie a 3.5 out of 10. So it's quite low, and if we go by the metrics of Rotten Tomato, it's 1.5 stars. It is what it is. It's not a great movie. It's the best we covered tonight. So now let's deep or rewind. Let's dive deep into Birds of Prey, the final terrible movie we need to talk about tonight. I am very excited about that because this movie is so bad. It makes me laugh. Just the thought of it makes me laugh. So let's get into it. Where are you, birds of prey? You are here, birds of prey. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. So nobody calls it that long, so it's so pretentious for people to be like, oh, it's the title of my movie. Like nobody says the rest. They only say Birds of Prey. We are off a great start, are we? Um, Directed by Katie Yan, written by Christina Hudson, based on characters from DC, produced by Margot Robbie, Brian Euclid, Suko, starring Margot Robbie, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Jimmy Smollett Bell, Rosie Perez, Chris Messina, Ella J. Bosco, Ellie Wong, Ewan McGregor. Cinematography by Matthew Lee Batik, edited by Jay Cassidy, Evan Schiff, music by Daniel Pemberton, production companies Warner Bros. Pictures, DC Film, Lucky, Chap Entertainment, Clubhouse Pictures, Kroll, and CO Entertainment, distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. So that movie was a tale of 16 years after Catwoman. You didn't learn a thing about how to make a good female-led movie. Well, let's pretend Wonder Woman doesn't exist because Wonder Woman was great. It was a first time for Warner Bros. To get it right, but then they did the sequel. They did the sequel. Said it. Anyway, to get back to A Birds of Prey. Release date January 25th, 2020, Mexico City. February 7th, 2020 in the USA. And it was destroyed by Sonic, if I remember correctly. Running time 109 minutes. Country USA. Language English. Budget 82 million to 100 million and box office 205.5 million. You know what? I'm shocked. That movie made its money back during COVID. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Really? Are we serious here? Maybe I'm too harsh because I know Matt said, oh, he enjoyed that movie. But let's see what Rottentomato has to say about that movie. I know I have my opinion. I know I hated that thing, but let's just see what the Rotten have to say. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. There we go. Well. The critic surely liked it, 79%. The audience also liked it, 78%. It's very rare the audience and the critic are so close from each other. Recently, we had Project Hail Mary, it was the case, and now it's the case with this. From the get-go, I strongly disagree with that grade, but hey, to each their own. It's open season on Harley Quinn when her explosive breakup with the Joker puts a big fat target on her back. Unprotected and on the run, Quinn must survive, run away, hide. Critique consensus with a fresh perspective, some new friends, and loads of fast-paced action. Birds of Prey captures the colorfully anarchic spirit of Margot Robbie Harley Quinn. I actually agree with that to some extent. Let's read the comments. 3 out of 4, that's quite good. It's a fresh score from Max Weiss, Baltimore Magazine. Kinetic, silly, candy-colored, and hyper-violent Birds of Prey is a serious threat for a serious treat for fans of comic book film. But in one work, without equal parts, goofy, hilarious, and unhinged action. Now, I will admit something. They did Harley Quinn right. The rest, let's pretend I haven't seen a thing. So that person liked it. The next critique also liked it. Christina Newland, Sight and Sound. Fresh. Ultimately, the plot is as messy as its central character, trotting around with one shoe and a bacon sandwich in hand. But it's also a bunch of glittery, satisfying fun, especially the unkempt action or whatever. They also liked it. Everyone liked it. Maybe I'm crazy. Esther Zuckerman, a Trillist. Birds of Prey is fruity cocktail of a movie. It goes down smooth, makes you giddy, and there's the possibility of a slight hangover. So that's under fresh score, and another fresh score, Manita Roy Moan. Bam Smack Pow. Birds of Prey is a breath of fresh air in an already predictable landscape of superhero fare. This film is evidence that dark and distressing subject matter can be dealt with a poignant manner and with action. Yeah, I guess they liked it. Audience, 10 out of 10. My, these people. Margot Robbie is such a joy to watch. I agree. She was the only okay aspect of the movie. A. James with a 2 stars and a half, so that'd be a 5 out of 10. Okay, movie, pretty entertaining. I agree with that. I think it's a terrible movie, but it's entertaining nonetheless. Corey, 9 out of 10. One of the better DC film. Margot Robbie is amazing as Artie. Wish the villain was a little more menacing. Agree with that. Christopher L. Harley Quinn is always fun on screen, but people will forget this movie happened. Hopefully, one day the DCU can cleanly do this. With a 4 out of 10. So among the audience, we got a few people that were not on board. Very interesting. I like their take. Now, this is my goal. I take my shot at this movie. So Harley Quinn, I've read the DC Finest about her. I liked it. I think Harley Quinn is quite cool. But I think we got the wrong cook. The people involved in that movie are incompetent. I don't get the appeal. And this is what I think is one of the worst movie I've ever seen. So let's get into the issues. A lot of movies we covered today were around 10 issues. Now it's 13. And it's a lot of more of the same, but it's just unbearable. Anyway, let's get into it. My first issue with Harley Quinn movie. Character didn't talk like human. Dialogue was off-putting. This second issue, the humor simply didn't work. My third issue was plot convenience. The guy taking a piss near Harley Quinn so she could steal a car. My fourth issue, the reconstitution of the crime scene had the bad guys having crappy aim. The fifth issue, more bad attempts at humor. My sixth issue, more awful attempts at humor. So we see a pattern. Humor and dialogue are what I consider the worst part of that movie. I cannot stand these aspects. And it's true and true. My seventh issue, more plot convenience. Everyone bumping into Harley for humor and the help or getting away or getting captured. So she escaped because the movie wanted her to escape, not because it made sense, not because it was well written. No, stupid stuff happened and she could escape. My eighth issue, more bad dialogue. Ninth issue, more plot convenience. Dinah being around to help Harley. To top that, at the exact same time, Black Mask was witness to it. My 10th issue, more off-putting dialogue. 11th issue, most of the action throughout the movie wasn't believable since everyone seemed to fight with super strength. The 12th issue, more off-putting terrible dialogue. 13th issue, in the last fight, The bad guys were made incompetent for the good girls to win. And I will also add this. I didn't mark it down, but I reflect back. And I will say the characters are all crappy. The only redeemable quality is Harley Quinn. She is fine. She is fine. The rest is trash. Black Mask may be okay because it's Ewan McGregor and he's cool like Obi-Wan. Who doesn't want Obi-Wan as Black Mask? But like the rest of the cast, they don't feel like their comic counterparts and they're not so great characters. I said it out loud. So I don't understand the appeal. Anyway, let's get into the likes. Because there are aspects that I'm kind of okay, that movie kind of worked there. Harley Quinn monologue was fitting to the comics, which I guess is a decent thing. Visual effects were okay. That's surprising because the other two movie they had terrible visual effects, so that was a breath of fresh air, you know. The action was entertaining despite being terrible. I admit the chase was entertaining. The action was cool. More entertaining action. Drunk guy in the alley. Movie was competent at showing how crazy and unstable Harley Quinn was. The main villain was okay because it's Ewan McGregor. Cool action and music. Overall, that movie was a chore to get through, and I have so much regrets. And I don't think I will ever rewatch that thing ever again. I didn't like Catwoman or Supergirl, but I feel like just for laugh, I would go back to these two. Birds of Prey, never, never. It's so bad. It was a chore. Um, Again, I maybe I'm crazy. A lot of people seem to like it. I guess that's their fantasy. But yeah, in my opinion, it's the worst comic book movie there is. I'd grab Madame Web over that. I'm serious there. Madame Web over that. And that's telling. So I will give Birds of Prey a 1 out of 10. Cannot stand, cannot approve. If you don't need to watch it, don't watch it. I had regrets. I cannot forget I've seen that thing. And that was the stream for tonight. In the last movie we covered, I actually sounded a bit crazy because people seemed to like it. I didn't. But that's why you come here for my take, right? Right? I try to have charisma, try to have a cool discussion there. But yeah, 3 decades of disaster. This is the perfect description of what we witness. This is a perfect description of this live stream we just did. So, coming next on the channel. Tomorrow, maybe, finger crossed, I don't know. We have a Splinter Cell stream, not quite sure yet. We will see how it goes. Thursday, React stream if the dragon doesn't forget about me. This weekend, gaming stream. And next week, next week, we have more comic related content. And I believe, no, actually, next week is James Bond week, I think. I might be wrong on that. So maybe it's not next week. Anyway, we will see next week. I think next week is No Time to Die and Spectre. Actually, I think that's the topics. I will look back at the planning, but I think that's what we are covering. So we finish off the Daniel Craig era of James Bond. And what else? Well, we have another reaction stream at some point, and we will play more Splinter Cell. Once I'm done with Splinter Cell, I will play Resident Evil Requiem again. This is what's going on the channel. Thank you for watching. I enjoyed the night. Did you? With this, I think I am out. Have a great one and take care. See you soon. Talk to you soon. Yeah, that blue podcast.
check the scene. Movies old and new, know what I mean? The Red Blue Podcast, come check the scene. Movies old and new, know what I mean?